I'm Elizabeth Talbot, and this is Matthew Talbot, and we're here with the Talbot Law Group in Walnut Creek, California. And I wanted to take this opportunity to speak with Matthew about some of his more recent trials that he's had and why those cases have gone to trial and kind of the result and what's happened since then. So the first one I wanted to ask about is one that was successfully resolved, I think, in December, beginning of January, and this was a probate trial in San Francisco. Can you describe that to us?
This was a very complex case, and I was very intrigued by it. Functionally, it was a circumstance where there were two gay men who were living together. This is in the 70s, in the early 80s, before there was any ability for them to get married. The elder of the two wanted his assets to go to the other one. And at that time, and there's been many papers and research articles written about this, one method to accomplish this was for an adult adoption to take place. In this instance, one of the men adopted the other man so that the assets would distribute to the second gentleman. The first gentleman died in the 1980s, but the second gentleman didn't die until 2019. And so the question there is, upon that adoption, does it terminate the relationship with the second decedent's biological family such that his assets would go to the biological family of the first decedent, i.e. the family of the older of the two men who died in 1980, who are the people that we represented. And so the biological family of the second decedent, who died in 2019-2020 time period, was the opposing party in that instance. And we had to find evidence of this adoption, either direct evidence of the adoption, i.e. court paperwork that would show that trust, paperwork showing distribution plans that reference the adoption, etc., which was actually in another state, so we had to get subpoenas issued in that state. And we also had to, see if there's evidence of what's called equitable adoption. Equitable adoption is a theory where basically if a person holds another person out as their child, even if that child is not legally adopted, an adoption can still be assumed. So we were looking at these two issues. In this instance, it was actually slightly even more complicated because the second decedent had emigrated from China, and there were issues about his immigration status and the immigration status of his family, which came into play in this particular trial. This trial was done online, as many trials have been done since the start of the pandemic, and we had a number of exhibits. We had to fight over whether or not the exhibits could be entered into evidence, whether they were hearsay, and whether there were exceptions to the hearsay rule. And then testimony was taken from multiple witnesses in regards to what was the intent of these two decedents. Was there evidence of the adoption? Was there evidence of equitable adoption? In the end, the court ruled in my client's favor and found that there was a severance of the relationship between the second decedent and his biological family by this adoption from the 70s or 80s, which would preclude them from receiving assets. Appointed my client as administrator of the estate to administer the estate and ensure that everything is distributed to the biological family of the adoptor instead of the adoptee. This was sort of a case of first impression for me, dealing with so many different complex issues between probate, equitable adoption, out-of-state adoption, the immigration issues, and I was very happy for the client that we could get that resolved in his favor.
Thank you.